Hey everybody, today is Monday, August 5th. It is really hot out already. It is going to be a hot day. I'll look forward to watching this video in the winter to remind myself that the hot day was not that bad, right? If I do this, I squint, and I look really tired. I don't sleep. I haven't been sleeping well at night again. I just don't post about it anymore because it gets people upset. People get upset around me when I don't sleep well. So I have a pile of newspapers. I've been neglecting my news stories, and I'm going to start, and I'm going to go way back, way back, just like logic, to June, because that's when I started collecting papers and reading. I want to be able to throw these papers out because they're going to be a pile, and I don't like hoarding at all. So first off, on June 9th, 2019, we have the Central Wisconsin paper talking about people for sale. It's an introduction article to talk about what it's like to investigate or understand human trafficking. And they give you a national phone number, and it says contact the National Human Traffic Hotline at 1-888-373-7888 or text them at 233-733. And there are also live chat options on their web at humantraffickinghotline.org. Wisconsin people don't really know how to approach this subject, especially Central Wisconsin, which has been heavily influenced by the Catholic religion for generations. There is a great deal of guilt about sin around here. And typically when they feel someone is not in accordance to society, their Catholic or Christian society ideals, they send religious people to the house. This is not how sophisticated problems are really dealt with, and I really wish that the Central Wisconsin community would update how they handle deep, complex issues, because it's not as simple as they think. So that is a really good article, and it talks about how people shame people into sexual trafficking, and then once the shame is there, it's very difficult to get out. And if you don't think that it's a national problem, here on July 13th, R. Kelly is facing sex trafficking charges of minors. I believe he is the first of many in the hip-hop industry that will deal with trafficking children. Hopefully not talking about very young minors, but I think we're talking about young women and possibly men, probably ranging from the age of 13 to 17. Of course, it has to be, the child has to be under 18. R. Kelly has fought vehemently against this, but if anyone knows the history of R. Kelly and Aaliyah, they know he was having sex with a minor. Hi. So, that is two of my papers that I can now discard of and use for my birdcage bottoms, right? Moving on. On June 17th, I really thought I've been reading a book called I, Judas. I haven't had time to read it, probably this fall. But on June 17th, 2019, after I made my first video on Facebook about I, Judas, which is let me tell you something, right now it is very relevant. Deception and Friends, very relevant, in a worldwide kind of, sorry, a bat fly was bothering me, a worldwide kind of mentality, I guess I want to say. But I thought it was really interesting. So there is a python problem in the Florida Everglades. People buy these exotic pets, and python snakes are one of them. Either they don't realize how big they're gonna get, or they get bored of them, or they outgrow them, or they can't afford them to feed them, or I'm not real sure what all the different reasons are, but they stop wanting them and release them into the wild, which has caused a great deal of havoc in the Everglades. A lot of species are disappearing because the pythons are eating them. So what they've done is they created what they called Judas snakes. And so during certain times of the year, pythons have a breeding ball. No, they don't have a party. They just, a bunch of males get together with a female and they breed, and I guess they end up looking like they're in a ball. And they put transmitters in the males because the females are what the park, the DNR, the park rangers want. So they put the transmitters in the male, transmitters in the male, and they go when they see that a couple, 3 or 4 signals are together, they know there's a breeding ball, they go to that location, they pick up the female and they euthanize her. When the females are gone, the males will just die off naturally because catching males is taking them way too long. So for them it's about catching females. And python snakes are very, very smart. They like to go hide out in places humans wouldn't go because humans are their predator, not alligators or crocodiles or any of that. They kill them. They get so big they can kill the natural predator of Florida and the Everglades. So I thought that was interesting that I was reading a book and then it was talked about in the paper. Okay, moving on. I know you guys are being real good about listening to what I'm talking about. So, in the paper dated May 18th, 2019, Marshfield News Herald, which is Jeanette, we talk about Wisconsin sues oxycodone makers for over-deceptive marketing. So the Attorney General of Wisconsin, Josh Kull, is suing the makers of oxycodone because the doctors overprescribed it in Wisconsin. You have to understand, doctors were given incentives to prescribe this medication. So therefore, they could have overprescribed it at times to get that incentive, that financial incentive. So let me just read some of these things. Okay, Wisconsin is one of a handful of states that filed a lawsuit this week alleging Purdue Pharma and Richard Sackler, the creators of oxycodone, the investor guy, creators of the drug, peddled false information to downplay the risky side effects of using oxycodone to kill pain and inflated the drug's benefits. Now this is what I don't understand about it, okay? Let me tell you something. Doctors are doctors to understand the reaction of the body to medication. What they're saying is the pill company lied to the doctors so they would overprescribe. The doctors didn't know the pill company was lying. These are very smart people. Doctor, you don't become a doctor being a dumb person. So, moving forward, the opiate epidemic was not inevitable, Call told reporters at a news conference with Governor Tony Evers. The epidemic has torn families apart. It has led to the overdose deaths of thousands of Wisconsinites. It has strained our foster care system. It has strained our criminal justice system. The lawsuit was filed Thursday in Dane County Circuit Court and seeks compensation for harm done to Wisconsin residents by the opiate manufacturer, civil penalties, and to bar the manufacturer from continuing to advertise the painkiller as having health benefits. So basically, Josh Kull is saying Wisconsin doctors were duped. Now that leads me to the USA Today paper dated June 18th, 2019. You can see why I go back and forth. This is where Pfizer expands cancer treatment lineup. So we know that pharmaceutical companies will lie about the health benefits of medication in order to have people become prescribed, and therefore insurance companies, perhaps themselves, state insurance, private insurance, pay for this medication, which lines not only the pockets of the pharmaceutical company and all the executives and employees, but also lines the pockets of doctors when they are given an incentive to sell that medication. Purchase of Array Biopharma for $10.64 billion shows strategic focus on segment. Pfizer agreed to buy Array Biopharma for $10.64 billion as one of the world's biggest pharmaceutical companies seeks to expand their cancer lineup with targeted therapies. Monday's deal for Array, which granted a 62% premium to its closing price on Friday, suggests just how important the market for cancer drugs is in the world's biggest pharmaceutical companies. And now I'm going to jump forward. Array's two drugs, Braftovi and Mektovi, are currently approved to treat skin cancer patients with certain genetic alterations. So these are going to alter your genes, so supposedly you don't get cancer. The drugs could also play a role in treatment of some colon and rectal cancer patients if studies pan out. They don't know this for a fact. They're studying it. It's in clinical trials. But Pfizer put $10 billion on it that it's going to play out. That's kind of weird. Would you put $10 billion on something you didn't know for a fact was going to work? Also appealing to the big companies, the ability to command high prices and the opportunities to find new treatments furnished by advanced in understanding the disease. Pfizer's cancer drugs are projected to generate $8.3 billion in sales this year. Cancer is a money-making disease. They paid $10 billion to a company. They're not even sure if the medication may or may not work, but they're feeling it will, to treat cancer. Cancer is not always caused by genes. Cancer is also caused by diet and environment. And if you're drinking water that has a lot of like bleach, chlorine, and whatever to clean it out, you're going to end up with stomach cancer. This is a fact, because if you come to Marshfield, a lot of the vets will tell you, not all, a lot, that many dogs are dying from stomach cancer drinking the Marshfield water. And if you are here on some weekends and you turn on the water, it smells like Hefco Pool. Don't drink that water. Don't give that water to your animals. There's too much bleach in it. What we're also discovering in Wisconsin with our water is that there is a massive farm runoff fecal problem, which causes thyroid problems. I have a thyroid issue. I do not want my thyroid removed, so I do not drink a lot of soda. I try to study what iodine, because there's an iodine in your thyroid that you're born with and you run out of. I try to study what I can do to prevent from having to have my thyroid removed, because there's a fecal problem in the water of Wisconsin from the farmer runoff. Okay? So when you have too much shit in the water, you have to bleach it. Coffee break. So, I'm going to stop here because I've gone almost 15 minutes and I'm going to upload this onto YouTube. And I hope you enjoyed the information I told you. I just want you to be aware. I am not a doctor. I am not here to tell you what to do with your body. I just want you to be aware that if pharmaceutical companies will lie about painkillers, they will lie about other drugs, because they know drugs are money. Pharmaceutical companies deal more drugs than anyone else on this planet. Remember that.